So I've heard players say, including myself, I feared Mike. I've heard players in your generation say they feared Kobe. I've never really heard any players say they fear LeBron.
And then like the generation, they talk so much shit about the game today.
Yeah.
And it make you go back and watch the game back then, and it makes you not even want to.
More like I did when I was a kid. Like it was like, these are the moments when Shaquille O'Neal publicly questioned LeBron's legacy, his fear factor, and the claim to true basketball greatness. For more than a decade, Shaq has been dropping raw, uncomfortable truths that modern media tiptoes around. And what he exposed in March 2024 shook the whole basketball world. This isn't hate on LeBron, not even close. What we're
Man, listen, let me say something to you. The C's, we didn't give a fuck about LeBron. We didn't fear LeBron, and we didn't think that he can beat all five of us. And that's how it felt.
on him as the greatest. So I've heard players say, including myself, I feared Mike. I've heard players in your generation say they feared Kobe. I've never really heard any players say they fear LeBron. And then like the generation, they talk so much shit about the game today, and it make you go back and watch the game back then, and it makes you not even want to appreciate it no more like I did when I was a kid. Like it was like, these are the moments when Shaquille O'Neal publicly questioned LeBron's legacy, his fear factor, and the claim to true basketball greatness. For more than a decade, Shaq has been dropping raw, uncomfortable truths that modern media tiptoes around. And what he exposed in March 2024 shook the whole basketball world. This isn't hate on LeBron, not even close. What we're really digging into is why one of the most dominant centers in NBA history, someone who actually shared a locker room with LeBron, still refuses to crown him as the greatest. So I've heard players say, including myself, I feared Mike. I've heard players in your generation say they feared Kobe. I've never really heard any players say they fear LeBron. And once you hear what Shaq said about fear, killer instinct, and the gap between LeBron and the legends before him, everything suddenly hits different. Fans who grew up watching Jordan and Kobe tear through opponents know exactly what this conversation is about, and Shaq's comments lit that fire again. When March 2024 rolled around, he dropped a statement on his podcast that had LeBron's fan base completely losing it. On an episode of The Big Podcast with his former teammate Mario Chalmers, Shaq unleashed a take that sliced right into the heart of the GOAT debate, and what he said cannot be taken back. The exact words were these, and when they pushed him on it, Shaq didn't flinch. He doubled down like he was built for the smoke. LeBron tried clapping back on Instagram by flexing his streak of consecutive double-digit scoring games and comparing it to Shaq's career length, which was a cute little stat flex, but it completely missed what Shaq was really saying. I didn't think players really feared LeBron like they did Jordan. I never heard anybody say it. And it's not that you shouldn't fear LeBron. I just think at the end of the day, Bron has been through so much that he wanted to be liked. So it was kind of like, he is a nice guy, yeah. I'm gonna do things now where like people like me, people respect, nobody fears him. And trust me, that matters a lot. Fear changes games. Fear changes matchups. Fear changes careers. And when we talk about the greatest ever, fear is part of the blueprint. Mario Chalmers, who won 2 championships beside LeBron in Miami, explained why players don't fear him the same way they feared Jordan or Kobe, and his explanation opened a lot of eyes. He said LeBron always wanted to be liked, which might sound cool until you line that up next to Jordan and Kobe, 2 guys who walked on the court with one goal: destroy whoever stood in front of them. They didn't chase approval, didn't chase popularity, they chased dominance. They wanted opponents thinking about them all night before the game even started. Back in November 2011, Shaq dropped his memoir, Shaq Uncut: My Story, and people forget that the criticism didn't begin in 2024. It started way earlier. What he revealed about playing with LeBron in Cleveland during the 2009 to 2010 season was absolutely wild, the kind of behind-the-scenes truth that gets buried because nobody wants to bring it back up. Shaq wrote about his time in Cleveland and described how Coach Mike Brown often handled LeBron with caution. He explained that Brown was naturally a considerate coach, and because LeBron was such an important part of the franchise, the organization wanted to maintain a positive environment around him. According to Shaq, this sometimes meant LeBron received a different level of attention than other players, which he felt could affect how a team tries to build a championship culture. Shaq recalled a situation during a film session when LeBron did not get back on defense after a missed shot, and the coaches chose not to comment on it. However, when Mo Williams made a similar mistake, the reaction from the coaching staff was more direct. Shaq mentioned that players such as Dante West noticed these moments and voiced the idea that everyone on the team should be held to the same expectations, though the dynamic did not change. He also questioned whether legendary players like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant would have received similar treatment, emphasizing that every coaching staff operates differently and adapts based on team needs. Shaq suggested that if such behavior occurred under a coach like Phil Jackson, the response would have been more immediate, as Jackson was known for his strict approach to defensive discipline. What about Kobe and LeBron in their prime? Well, I'll play with both of them, and Kobe has that killer instinct, and I'll probably have to go with Kobe. Reflecting on the 2010 Eastern Conference Finals and the 2011 NBA Finals, Shaq offered his personal perspective on LeBron's performance during high-pressure moments. He said that in Game 5, LeBron seemed unusually disengaged, and although he believed LeBron had the ability to take control of the game at any time, he did not do so in those particular matchups against the Celtics and the Mavericks. Shaq also mentioned a play against Dallas in which LeBron passed up an open shot to feed Mario Chalmers, which Shaq found surprising based on the situation. Because Shaq played with both LeBron and Kobe, he said he had seen different leadership styles up close. In comparing how each one worked with coach Mike Brown, Shaq wrote that he was unsure whether Kobe would follow Brown's system fully, while LeBron often operated more independently. He added that Kobe tended to assume a leadership role naturally, which was not meant as a criticism but rather an observation of contrasting personalities. In a 2015 appearance on The Dan Patrick Show, Shaq was asked directly to choose between Kobe and LeBron, and he gave an immediate answer, expressing his personal preference based on his own experiences with both players. What about Kobe and LeBron in their prime? That question always brings up one thing over and over again: killer instinct. The mindset that separates legends from everyone else. If you're making $30 million, 80 games is good enough. All right, 2 more things real quick. Go ahead. So you want me to pay you $30 million to play 30 games? Hell no. Right. No, 80 games is fine because I did it. Jerry West did it. Kareem did it. Magic did it. Bird did it. Bernard Kate, like all the great legends before us, did it. It's the same fire that pushed Jordan to take every final shot and pushed Kobe to drop 81 because he refused to let his team fall. Believed that an NBA player could make $1 million, and now these guys are so lucky and blessed, and they can't play basketball 3 or 4 days a week. And I know they hide behind all the analytical crap from their agents and people like that. What they're really trying to do is extend their career. The way the money's been and going, depending on who you are, you're going to be able to make another $700 million, and probably more going forward, if you can extend your career 2 or 3 years. That's the level of intensity people mean when they talk about killer instinct. During an ESPN event in Hong Kong that same year, Shaq explained the difference in a way that spelled everything out. I think the greatest player is Michael Jordan. LeBron is about to do something that hasn't been done in a long time. But for me, it's always Dr. J, Michael Jordan, Magic and those guys. He said young LeBron was more like Magic Johnson, smooth, unselfish, focused on passing and setting others up. Almost like Magic with a little bit of Jordan's physical ability mixed in. Curry at the 1. Curry, okay. Kobe at the 2, Jordan at the 3, Tim Duncan at the 4, okay, and me at the 5. But Shaq made it clear that Mike was Mike, one of one, a player nobody else could truly match. And the fact that he compared LeBron to Magic instead of Jordan tells the whole story. Magic was an all-time superstar, top 5 easily, but he's not the name people throw into the GOAT conversation with Jordan. And according to Shaq, neither is LeBron. Then in June 2021, when LeBron publicly criticized the NBA's tighter schedule after several injuries across the league, Shaq didn't agree with the complaint at all. He said it showed the difference between generations, loud and clear. Jordan played full seasons and didn't say a word about fatigue. Shaq played full seasons too and brought pure dominance every night. They didn't talk about rest or complain about the grind.
Our game was supposed to be more structured. Well, this game we're watching now, I don't know what the watching now. They say, I said the 90s, and it was way harder than this. You guys, this is like kind of soft. Like right now, you get a flagrant foul, you get finally suspended. Like guys ain't even fouling hard no more. Back before I played, it was crazy. But when I played, it was crazy. But even before, like the 80s going to the 90s, it was probably more physical then.
They walked onto the court, handled business, and let their game carry the conversation. No excuses, no explanations, just results. And then came October 2022, when Shaq joined the Impulsive podcast with Logan Paul and finally laid everything out with zero confusion. He revealed his official top 10 players ever, and the order showed exactly where he believes LeBron stands. And this ranking didn't come from some outsider. It came from a 15-time All-Star, a 4-time NBA champion, a 3-time Finals MVP, and someone who shared locker rooms with both LeBron and Kobe.
You know, people get mad. It's just a product of what I see. I've seen what greatness is, been there and played with them. I don't see that all the time over here.
After years of competing, watching, and learning what greatness truly looks like, Shaq's conclusion was as clear as daylight. Jordan is the GOAT. Kobe is number 2. LeBron is number 3. And the wildest part, never happens. You call it hate if you want, but
even with the word hate, like these kids, they like to throw that word around. If you ain't great and I'm great, how can I hate on you? That don't make no sense.
Shaq has repeatedly left LeBron out of his all-time starting 5, which says more about his real opinion than any direct criticism ever could. If you do not say he's the greatest of all time, you're committing treason. Scottie Pippen on ESPN's First Take in February 2019 said, "When I look at LeBron, he's not what Michael was as a player. He's not even what Kobe Bryant was as a player. When you talk about trying to compare Michael's instinct, his ability to take over games, his ability to want to have that last shot and demoralize you and scare the living hell out of you, LeBron doesn't have that gene." The Big Podcast brought up another major point about LeBron's career, why his longevity numbers can look misleading when you don't understand the full context. And this is the part his supporters always seem to skip right over. When Shaq was asked whether today's NBA is less physical, his answer came fast and came from decades of living that life. "Nothing, man. Listen, let me say something to you. The C's, we didn't give it LeBron. We didn't fear LeBron, and we didn't think that he can beat all 5 of us. And that's how it felt. He was trying to consolidate because he didn't want the pressure on him. Don't get it twisted. I love LeBron, but no. LeBron's longevity is amazing, and he's the all-time leading scorer, but Shaq pointed out he did it in an era where hand-checking is gone, and almost any tough foul turns into a flagrant or a suspension. Jordan had to deal with the bad boy Pistons throwing full-contact defense at him, and Kobe dominated back when teams were still allowed to play rough, but LeBron gets a whistle the second the defender pressure looks too close. Shaq also spoke directly to modern players, using words that showed his frustration and experience. And when someone tried to say he was being negative, Shaq shut that down immediately. He said, "That's not hate, that's standards. That's a man who battled legends, refusing to water things down just because today's generation has stronger PR machines and social media hype." And Shaq isn't the only one saying these things, which makes the conversation way bigger. Charles Barkley on the Bill Simmons podcast said this about LeBron and his camp: if you do not say he's the greatest of all time, you're committing treason." Scottie Pippen on ESPN's First Take in February 2019 said his own piece. Kevin Garnett on a 2019 podcast with Bill Simmons and Adam Sandler talked about how the Celtics approached LeBron's Cavaliers. And Magic Johnson at InvestFest 2025 answered the Jordan versus LeBron question with his own clear view. This isn't just one retired player speaking out, it's a whole lineup of basketball legends sharing similar thoughts. When so many respected voices say the same thing, it hits with real impact. LeBron is great, no question, but he's not Michael and he's not Kobe, and according to Shaq, he never had the same qualities those two carried every night on the court. Still, Shaq has defended LeBron plenty of times, and being fair means acknowledging that balance. On Drink Champs in October 2022, Shaq stepped in to challenge the whole killer instinct narrative, saying, "If you don't have killer instinct, how you get 38,000 points?" Then on the Big Podcast with JJ Redick in 2024, Shaq called LeBron the greatest young leader I've ever seen, and even admitted, "When I got to Cleveland with Bron already had that shit under control." Shaq said he was genuinely impressed back then, and that says a lot coming from someone who's seen everything in the league. This isn't Shaq trying to erase LeBron's greatness. It's Shaq clearly separating what LeBron is from what he isn't. He's drawing that line between an all-time great and the greatest of all time, and he's doing it with first-hand experience. LeBron is absolutely an all-time great, a top 3 talent with achievements we may never see repeated again, but that still doesn't make him the ultimate number 1. He doesn't have that fear factor that made teams panic when Jordan walked into the building. He doesn't have the obsessive fire that pushed Kobe to drop 81 just because he refused to quit. And he was the face of the super team era instead of trying to beat every rival head-on like the older legends did. He also plays in a gentler era with higher scoring and way less physical punishment, which makes the comparisons tricky. When you look at mentality, clutch play, and the way Jordan and Kobe controlled their opponents mentally and physically, LeBron ends up a step behind every time. Shaq's point of view hits harder than anything coming from TV analysts or social media debates, because this is a man who actually lived at the highest level. 4 championships, 3 finals MVPs, 15 All-Star selections. Shaq dominated during a time when the league was far more physical and fiercely competitive than anything players see